Hey guys, Craig Judge here, your ISUZU guru. Today we're going to have a discussion about gas versus diesel trucks. A large number of my customers seem to have the same questions rolling around in their minds. Should I buy a diesel truck or gas for my business? Well, it's a simple question, but slightly more complicated answer. There are a lot of factors that can come into play, and those factors can change based on each individual's customer's needs. First, let's discuss the pluses and the minuses of each power option. For the diesel engine, for over a decade, ISUZU has offered one main diesel engine for the N series trucks in the U.S. That's the 5.2 liter turbocharged intercooled engine. We also have a smaller 3-liter diesel for our new 13,000 GVW diesel chassis that offers even better fuel economy for lower GVW applications. But for this discussion, we'll keep our focus on the 5.2. The 5.2 engine is known as one of the best in the industry and offers a 310,000 mile B10 rating. Let me say that again, a 310,000 mile B10 rating. Now the term B10 may be a bit foreign to you, but have no fear. A B rating is an industry standard rating of how long an engine is expected to last. The 10 stands for the expected number of engines out of 100 not to reach the given rating mileage. So in our case, with a 10 rating, or 10%, we can expect 90% of our diesel engines to travel 310,000 miles before it requires a rebuild. In the world of medium-duty trucks, this is the industry standard. Nobody has a better rating in this class of trucks. It's a long-lasting engine. It also provides better fuel economy than a gas engine. Depending on your application and how the truck's operated, that fuel economy difference can be 10% to 30% or even more versus a gas-powered version of the same truck. That can be significant. Then there's the power factor. Our 5.2 is a torquey motor. Puts out 452 pounds-feet of torque. That's about 100 pounds-feet more than our gas truck. Some applications, heavily loaded dump trucks pulling a skid steer, some applications may require that extra grunt. Now there's other advantages as well. Some customers will tell me, hey, my whole fleet is diesel and I'm keeping it that way. Some customers may have an on-site or nearby diesel mechanic who they know and trust and want to keep everything consistent within their fleet. Other customers who may operate lots of heavy machinery may have diesel fuel on site, buy in bulk. There's a whole host of reasons to pick one fuel versus the other. But for 95% of buyers, fuel economy and longevity are the biggest factors for choosing diesel power. Now, let's look at some advantages of the gas engine. The gas engine currently in use on ISUZU N series trucks is the GM 6-liter V8. Yep, the same 6-liter that GM has been putting into their pickups and large SUVs for years. This engine provides great horsepower and torque and excellent fuel economy to boot. Now, gas engines offer a bunch of advantages over diesel for the right buyer, and we'll get into who the right buyer is a little bit later on. First and most critical is the cost. If you're buying a new ISUZU, the price difference can be $6,000 to $7,000 between a gas power and a diesel powered truck. That's a big chunk of change in upfront cost. Now, customers are doing a lot of miles annually can recoup that money in fuel economy savings. How many miles? Well, that's the $7,000 question. Back in the old days, before all the EPA regulations and emissions requirements, diesel fuel was cheaper than gasoline. Diesel engines also cost less to produce. So when you look at the modest price increase of a diesel engine, the cheaper fuel, the better fuel economy, it was a real easy decision to make if diesel was the right choice. Well, these days, as we discussed, diesel engines are a much higher upfront cost, and the fuel required these days is in most cases more expensive than gasoline. That stretches the time horizon to break even on the investment much further out. Now, ISUZU has a pretty sophisticated calculator available to their dealers. Every salesperson has access to it and can do a specific calculation for your particular needs using fuel costs today for wherever you're located. They can even run some assumptions for you if the cost of fuel were to go up or down. It's a pretty cool system, and I encourage you to ask your dealer to run the calculations for you. However, I'm going to give you some general rules of thumb to go by. This is basically the same advice I give all of my customers. If you're doing under 20,000 miles a year, gas is probably a good bet. Over 30,000 miles a year in diesel power will probably pay itself back in a reasonable amount of time. It's that 20 to 30,000 mile window that requires some additional investigation. Beyond just the cost of the fuel, you need to also consider things like maintenance. Do you have a good diesel shop nearby? If you go to ISUZUCV.com, you can locate your local ISUZU dealer. One of the beautiful things about the gas-powered trucks is it's still a GM small block. Yes, it's computer-oriented these days, but it's the same basic configuration that has been in service since 1955. No matter where you are, there is probably a competent shop that can perform most or all the related services to this engine. Certainly, every ISUZU dealer is more than capable of handling these services. Now, resale value can also play a role as well. Over the years, ISUZU N-Series trucks were predominantly diesel-powered with only a small percentage having gas engines. Well, today, demand for gas power is stronger than ever. So when we look at the used truck market, it's the old supply and demand model that comes into play here. Lots of used truck buyers want gas trucks, and there is not a huge supply of them on the used market. Therefore, the price of a used gas truck can come very close to a good diesel truck. Cost of operation may be a big factor as well. Fact is, services on a diesel engine cost more than a gas engine. There's no way around it. They take more oil, there's more filters, etc. However, the standard intervals for service are 10,000 miles for diesel and 7,500 for gas. So, diesel service is more expensive, but done less frequently. Getting more complicated now, isn't it? Now, I'm not putting this information out there to confuse you or frighten you. Just educate you. Do your homework. Better yet, delegate the research to your dealer or a guy like myself who will give you straightforward advice without bias. Finally, and this is very important, diesel trucks require, in fact they demand, that whoever operates the truck on a daily basis be familiar with the emission systems and how they work on an ISUZU or any other modern diesel truck with the latest emissions and diagnostic technology. The days of turning the key and going to work are gone, at least for now. Operating a modern diesel-powered work truck requires a driver to pay attention to what the truck is telling them and how to act accordingly. Not doing so is going to leave the owner with downtime, lost productivity, angry customers, and in some cases, big repair bills. All right, that's my scripted disclaimer for the day. Really, you can avoid these scenarios by educating yourself and your employees. Again, use the resources that ISUZU and your dealer provides. Now, everything I've stated thus far is geared toward new truck buyers. For you used truck buyers, most of that information applies. However, as a rule, used buyers tend to do less mileage or don't plan to keep the truck for an extended duration. Heck, that's probably why you're not buying a new truck in the first place. So when it comes down to decision time on a used truck, gas, diesel, gas, diesel, gas, diesel, if a good case can be made for either, and it's basically a coin flip, just look for the best used truck you can find for the money. It's that simple. We've been trained to look at book values, listen to neighbors' expert advice, because as enough of you worked for a dealer for 6 months, you know what I'm talking about. Trust me, take a few days or a couple of weeks and look around. You'll learn pretty quickly what the value of a good clean used gas or diesel truck is for any given time in any given area. And be prepared to look at a few or more than a few trucks. A good clean, rust-free, properly maintained ISUZU NPR with 150,000 miles is a much better investment than your run-of-the-mill former daily rental unit with half as many miles. Again, educate yourself. Well, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this short video and find the information somewhat useful. I've provided my email here at the end, all my contact information for you to ask questions and provide feedback. I hope to make this an ongoing series about ISUZU trucks and related industries and applications. Please send me your suggestions. I look forward to your thoughts. Thanks for listening.